Hello guys and welcome to another tier list. This time we are going to rank international cricket teams on this tier list with class being the best and bad being the worst. Let's get straight into it, shall we? Starting off this list is a very interesting team, the USA cricket team. Now they've got a lot of ex-West Indian players. They've got Corey Anderson potentially going to qualify for them as well. But at the moment, the USA cricket team, they're in the lower leagues of cricket for international stuff. So on this tier list, they will currently fit in the bad category. They probably in the next couple of years, if I was to do this list again, move into not bad, but they're for now bad compared to these other teams. The next international team we're going to grade is Cricket Australia. Now, Cricket Australia have got a lot of world-class players. I'd put Steve Smith in that category, a batsman of extraordinary talent in the Test game. He averages over 60, I believe, still in the game. He has had some controversy in that behind him, but I think still a world-class player. Marnus Labuschagne is an up-and-coming world-class player himself, so their batting order is very rock-solid with them two in the order. They've got some really good bowlers, Hazelwood, Stark, Nathan Lyon comes to mind as well. They just have a lot of areas covered at the moment. The one thing I'd like to see them do is maybe replace Tim Payne and give Alex Carey a go, as Alex Carey is a very exciting wicketkeeper for Cricket Australia. In the limited forms of the game too, they've got players like Aaron Finch. David Warner plays all formats. Even though I don't like David Warner too much as a cricketer, he still is very, very good. Just trying to think. Cameron Green's an up-and-coming all-rounder for them as well. They have plenty of talent. And Australia, on the back of winning like so many World Cups and that as well, they have to be in the greater class in this particular list. Next up on the list, guys, is the United Arab Emirates. I don't know too much about the United Arab Emirates in terms of their cricket team. I know they play, I think, mainly around Division 1, Division 2 in the World Cricket League. They do have some good players in their team. They have got a lot of players that have emigrated to that country from Pakistan and India in particular. They have featured in a couple of World Cups. They were in their first World Cup at 1996. For me, the UAE probably are a little bit better than the USA. They will fit in the not bad category. Okay, next up on our list is Cricket South Africa. In the current time of doing this video, South Africa are rebuilding their cricket team at the moment with a lot of retirements over the last couple of years, notably AB de Villiers. Faf du Plessis is another one that has retired recently. Hashim Amla, Jacques Kallis. That's very, very hard players to replace in their team. They've still got some talented players like Quinton de Kock, their wicketkeeper, who I think is an exceptional talent. Still a very young man too, like he could potentially play another 10 years still. Kagiso Rabada is a very good pace bowler in their bowling unit. At the moment, with them rebuilding, they're sort of going to fall into the average category. But I suspect with their team that they got now, if they can just get a few results to go their way, they will move up to the good tier, I reckon, if I was to redo this list. Next up, we have England cricket team. Now, England were the previous winners of the 50-over World Cup in that thrilling game against New Zealand. England have some world-class players. Ben Stokes comes to mind as one player. Joe Root, another one. They've got the evergreen James Anderson and Stuart Broad in their test bowling attack. England are a really decent side. I wouldn't say they're class at the moment. They just need a few more pieces to make their team absolutely world-class at the test level. The one-day and 20-over stuff, I think they're phenomenal in. They've grasped the concept pretty well. I think England, overall, at the moment, are a very, very good team. An up-and-coming nation is next to be ranked. Afghanistan cricket, a fantastic spin bowling unit that they have. Guys like Muhammad Nabi, Mujib ur-Rahman, Rashid Khan springs to mind. Now, Rashid Khan's the most notable player in my book. He is fantastic to watch. Plays in T20 leagues all over the world. Afghanistan have got a very inspiring story as well. Like 15 years ago, they were pretty much in the lower of leagues of the International Cricket Council run cricket leagues. I think they were Division 6 or 7. They got promoted so many times and they nearly qualified for the 2011 World Cup. But from there, they just really took off. They started to qualify for events like the T20 stuff. Eventually got to the 2015 Cricket World Cup 50 over stuff. 2019, they were at the Cricket World Cup as well. Afghanistan, for me at the moment, are pretty much in the tier in between average and not bad. South Africa are currently better than Afghanistan in all formats. But Afghanistan fit in the average category because they're actually quite competitive against most sides these days. The Bangladesh Tigers, that were Bangladesh Cricket, got some really good players in their team as well. Mustafiza Rahim, they've got Mustafiza Rahman, very good left arm medium fast bowler that's got fantastic variations and is very economical. Shakib Al Hassan, when he's available, is also really good. They've got some very experienced players at the top like Tamim Iqbal. Even Mahmudullah is really experienced and a really decent player for them there. But Bangladesh, for me, at the moment, they are sort of in that average tier. I think Afghanistan are about even with them in the limited overs formats, with Bangladesh probably slightly better than Afghanistan in the test format. But for me, they do fit in the average class. They don't tend to do too well overseas. Not too many cricketing nations do. But Bangladesh struggle to even beat some of the real top tier sides at home. So they fit in the average category there. Okay, my home nation now, New Zealand, well, the Black Caps as I know them. They've got very much world-class players. Kane Williamson will probably go down as our best ever cricketer in that tier with Richard Hadley. Ross Taylor's sort of, he's still a really good player. He probably a couple of years ago would be on par with Kane Williamson as being world-class, but I'd still consider Ross Taylor still a really good player. But New Zealand are very much known for a very good bowling attack as well. They've got pretty much Tim Southee and Trent Boult, who have been in the team for a long time. Bowlers like Neil Wagner, who is absolutely tenacious and pretty much is a very unique bowler for his time. Kyle Jamison's an up-and-coming player as well in that team. Tom Latham's very rock solid at the top, I believe, in Test cricket and all that. Who else have we got on that team? Henry Nicholls is solid in the middle order. They will have to probably put Tom Blundell in the middle order at some point. They've got another player in Devon Conway coming through. New Zealand, for me, are good across all categories at the moment. Test cricket, one-day cricket, and T20 cricket. For me, they are pretty much in the class tier at the moment at home. If it was pretty much rated everywhere, I still think they're class. They've won some series, but they're a wee bit behind Australia for me. They just can't seem to beat Australia on a regular basis. So for me, New Zealand cricket at the moment are in the class category. Next up on the list, guys, is Cricket India. Cricket India are the biggest cricket playing nation in the world. They produce some really famous players. Sachin Tendulkar is one that comes to mind, who brought a nation together really with his splendid batting, the Master Blaster as they call them. They had recent players over the years like Mahendra Singh Dhoni, a really good wicket-keeper batsman who could win games in the last few overs for his side. Like, they've got some good players now. Virat Kohli is going to go down as a world great and a legend of the game. They've had Rohit Sharma, who's hit a few double hundreds in the one-day game. They've got talent in the bowling ranks as well. Jasprit Bumrah, Mohammad Shami, Ravi Jadeja, Ravi Ashwin. India, for me, are always very good in their own conditions. They don't tend to drop too many series at home. They're all right away from home now. They've had a recent result against Australia. For me, at the moment, India will fit in the class category alongside Cricket Australia, New Zealand Cricket, and there. But I would rate India slightly above New Zealand. So this is my order of where I think teams are at the moment. India, probably, if they were to play in other conditions with New Zealand neutral ground, I think India would probably edge New Zealand in probably the limited over stuff. In test matches, though, I think New Zealand would have the wood over India. Cricket Ireland have produced some famous moments over the years. Now, Cricket Ireland have some very famous names. Kevin O'Brien stands out for me as a player that's produced some special moments on the world stage. Who can remember that famous 100 he got in the 2011 Cricket World Cup against England? Ireland were dead and buried. I was watching the game and they're about 109 for 5, and they needed around 10 and over, and Kevin O'Brien plays the innings of a lifetime and puts them on the map. Like, they've had some famous victories against Pakistan in the 07 Cricket World Cup. 2015 they beat the West Indies. Fortunately, they've dropped off in recent years just due to that golden crop of players retiring. Like, they had Niall O'Brien, William Porterfield at their peaks, Ed Joyce. They've had Alex Cusack. I'd put him there as well. He's a very good player. Trent Johnson. Yeah, Ireland for me are sort of got to rebuild again. They've got to develop some of the young talent. They've got some good up-and-coming players coming through. Just got to see them get up to that level. For me, Cricket Ireland are better than the UAE by quite a bit, but they're in the not bad category. Next up on our list is Cricket Namibia. I don't know too much about their cricket side. I know they play in the lower tiers against teams like the United Arab Emirates, Papua New Guinea, Hong Kong. They play those sort of teams in their circuit. They do have a team in the South African leagues, like the second tier, first class competition. So they will take a bit of time to develop, and hopefully they get up the ranks a little bit and become a little bit more competitive. But at the moment, I would rate them ahead probably maybe of the USA. I think maybe the USA may have surpassed them now with all their ex-West Indian players and, like, as mentioned before, in that team. So yeah, they're in the bad category, but hopefully they do improve on that. But as mentioned, I don't have too much information on their players. I believe Snyman is an all-rounder and a very experienced player. I think that's one of their players. Just trying to think who else they've got in their team. Unfortunately, I'm not going to go beyond that because I don't know enough about cricket in Namibia, but I know they're not as good as any of the other teams that are rated on this list. Next up on our list is Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea are very hard to rate. They have recently qualified for a T20 event that will take place in India later in the year. Some very interesting players to note. Mahuru Dai, decent all-rounder in their team. Liga Sayaka can bowl a little bit of spin, a very explosive batsman at the top. Tony Ura is reasonably good at the top. Asad Vala, a very explosive batsman as well. But if they get all the pieces of the puzzle right on the day, Papua New Guinea can really challenge all the teams from Cricket Ireland downwards. I don't think they can really challenge anyone above that, though, on a regular basis. For me, at the moment, they're... Oh, it's a hard one. For me, they are better than USA at the moment. So I'll swap them two rounds. They're teetering on bad and not bad at the moment for me. They've got a long way to go in their development. I hope they get more opportunities as well. Lack of opportunities for the teams and not bad and bad really hinder their progress. That's what cricket's really bad at the moment for. They need a lot more cricket against better teams. But yeah, Papua New Guinea, for me, I do follow them a little bit. I'm in a Facebook group and whatnot, and trying to get a wee bit of info on them here and there. For me, yeah, like I said, they fit there, but yeah, more opportunities needed for them. Cricket Hong Kong. Now, Cricket Hong Kong have qualified for a couple of ICC events over the years. They're not too bad of a side. They've had a couple of players, unfortunately, taken away from them, like Mark Chapman springs to mind. He played for Hong Kong before he got picked up by New Zealand. So there's some players there. They had Atkinson at the top. I don't know if he's still playing for them. He was reasonable. They had a couple of really nice, tidy bowlers as well in their lineup. For me, Hong Kong are slightly better than the teams in the bad category. They will fit in the lower tier of not bad for me. Cricket Nepal. Cricket's massive in Nepal. They have one famous name that I know of, Paris Kakar. I think that they're a team on the rise, but they still have a lot of time to develop. They've got one notable player that plays in cricket T20 leagues all over the world, and that is Sandeep Lamakhani. Decent spin bowler. And as mentioned, Paris Kakar is a very key component in their team. He carries the weight of the batting order effectively. They've got some other useful players as well, but at the moment Nepal are probably a case of being probably in the tier with roundabout where Papua New Guinea, USA and Cricket Namibia are at, which is in the bad category compared to the other teams. Like, I'm not saying these teams are bad here, guys, but if we're being honest in this tier system, how often are they going to beat these teams above here? That's how I'm grading it here. Next up on the list is the West Indies. The West Indies have a famous history in the game of cricket. They won the 75 and 79 World Cups. And they nearly three-peated before India won a famous final. Some very iconic players in their team. Chris Gale is an absolute icon for them. They've had Sir Vivian Richards, Brian Charles Lara, one of the best 4-day and 5-day cricketers we've ever seen play the game. But they've had a fall from grace. A lot of the players now, like a lot of talented sportsmen over there, choose other sports. They choose athletics, they choose basketball. They don't have the same sort of depth that they used to have. They used to have a very fearsome bowling attack, but well led by Jason Holder at the moment. I think he's a very good captain. And they are improving slightly. They are not bad or bad. They are slightly better than Bangladesh and Afghanistan in my book. They are pretty much on par with South Africa at the moment. They're just sort of rebuilding, but I think a real exciting future for them. They've got some very experienced campaigners like Darren Bravo. I think Craig Brathwaite could improve a little bit more as well. I think he's got something to prove there as well. Who else have they got in their team? They've got Nicholas Puran. They've had Dwayne Bravo as well, exciting player. Andre Russell, Kyron Pollard. They've got some notable household names that could challenge anyone on their day. Like in the limited overs form, I think T20 they'd fit into good, definitely. One-day cricket average and test cricket at the moment average. And they've got a very notable big guy too, Rakeem Cornwall. Check him out too. He's a big lad, but he can certainly bowl a bit of spin and can hit the ball. Simply put, Japan cricket, I don't know why they're on this list. If there's another tier, they'd probably be on it. I don't know anything about them, but all the teams like Nepal, Papua New Guinea, USA, and Cricket Namibia would probably put Cricket Japan to the sword. I think the reason why Japan Cricket Association is here, because in the recent Under-19 Cricket World Cup, Japan Cricket featured. So I'm sensing the person that made this list put Japan there, but in all aspects, Japan have got a lot of developing to go before they're even considered a cricketing nation. Okay, next on our list is Cricket Scotland. Cricket Scotland, for me, will fit in the not bad category. They're sort of around about there in the list. They've had one very famous victory over England in 2019, where they defended a pretty big score. It come down in the last over. They just beat England by about 5 or 6 runs. Just trying to think some players of note. Callum McLeod is one guy that comes to note. He has hit some very big hundreds for Cricket Scotland. For me, I'd have to do a bit more homework on Cricket Scotland. I know they're really competitive in most facets of the game. Still a long way to go in their development, but yeah, for me, they're not bad at the moment. Another team that has sprung out of nowhere for me, Cricket Oman. Yeah, they qualified for a recent T20 World Cup. They have produced some decent results against other international teams in sort of the cricket leagues. Yeah, don't know enough about their batsmen and bowlers. I did see them a wee bit at the World Cup that they participated in. They for me are at the lower tier of not bad, actually. I think, from what I've seen, they have a lot of players building. So I suspect they will slowly, gradually work their way up to this part here. And they'll be where they stay for quite a long time. But yeah, unfortunately, guys, if I knew about some of the good batsmen or bowlers, I would definitely mention them. Pakistan cricket is next up on our list. Pakistan cricket are a very enjoyable team to watch, actually. Like, they've got some very exciting talent. Like, Babar Azam, I think, is a very world-class limited overs player. He's got a wee bit to do in Test cricket, but I believe he can make the transition eventually to become a batsman that averages near 50 in all formats of the game. Good players around him as well. They've got decent bowling attack, as always. Known for their pacemen. They produce a lot of pace bowlers. Like, people that stand out for me at the moment. They've got Shaheen Afridi. They have Naseem Shah. They've got those guys that are only 21, 22 years of age in their team. You see Wahab Riaz Marchin, still veteran. And Muhammad Hafiz. They've got some veterans around there that'll help there. Aman Al-Haq, a guy that needs a bit more time, but I think he will get a bit better. Fakhar Saman. But yeah, I like watching Pakistan play. They've been very enjoyable over the years. Like seeing like Afridi, like Boom Afridi smack bowlers to all parts of the ground, the way he played the game. And Zamam Al-Haq had inspirational leaders like Imran Khan in their time as well when they won the 92 Cricket World Cup. But in all facets of cricket at the moment, Pakistan is sort of on the rebuild at the moment. For me, that's sort of where South Africa and the West Indies are. So they fit in the average category at the moment. But in the next few years, I suspect they can move up into the good category and really challenge some of the teams in that zone at the moment. The Netherlands are the next to rank on this list. The Netherlands, for me, are sort of in the not bad category. They fit in just here nicely. Famous players, Ryan ten Doeschate, pretty good operator actually, just averaged 50 or 60 for them for such a long time. They've qualified for a few World Cups without doing too much, they haven't really toppled anyone in 50 over cricket. But 20 over cricket, that famous moment at I believe the 2009 T20 where they beat England off the last ball, that was thrilling viewing. They've had some good players over the years, like Peter Borum wasn't a bad player. He's from New Zealand. He played for them. They've had who else did they have? They had that hitter at the top. I can't think of his name, but he was really. I think it was Myberg. Pretty sure his name was there. Who else did they produce? But yeah, I think the Netherlands cricket just again same with the not bad and bad teams. They just need more exposure. Like, I think the one-day league's going to help, like, Cricket Ireland, the Netherlands, and I think Scotland qualified for it. Just playing teams at the higher level, like, more, will give more exposure to some of their players. But for me, the Netherlands fit in the not bad category. Cricket Sri Lanka have been on a rebuild for such a long time now. Like, they had a golden patch where they had, like, Matara Muralitharan, probably the best spin bowler we've ever seen in the game of cricket, alongside Shane Warne. They two have got god tier status in my book. Mahela Jayawardene and Kumar Sangakkara, notable names, with all them guys just absolute legends for them. They've got a couple good operators now, like Angelo Matthews. They've got a lot of work to do, in my opinion, to sort of rebuild the game in Sri Lanka. Like, they're just not the same, like they've had that golden era and they're just trying to find players to replace some other talent as well, like Lasith Malinga, the unusual action, the brilliant slowable Yorkers and bowling Yorkers all the time. He was inspirational and whatnot for them. Yeah, Sri Lanka for me, guys, are probably around about the level of, probably they're not as good as South Africa, Pakistan, and the West Indies at the moment, but they're slightly better than Afghanistan and Bangladesh for me. Last to rate on this list is Zimbabwe. Now, Zimbabwe had a very good team in the late 90s, early 2000s. They had Heath Streak, Andy and Grant Flower. Like, they just had some really good fighters in their team that could really give most teams a go on that list. But apart from that, they've had some good players sprinkled in over the years that I've watched. Brendan Taylor was a really good cricketer for them. I quite enjoyed watching him play. Tatenda Tabu, the wicketkeeper that they had in the 2000s and mid 2010s. Cole Jarvis is another player that springs to mind. But yeah, it's not too much success for Zimbabwe of late. For me, I think Ireland are a bit better than Zimbabwe, and at the moment, unfortunately, Zimbabwe will be in the not bad category. But do you guys agree with my list? I think my list is to the best of my ability. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I know a lot of you guys watch the Cricket Captain series. And I thought I'd bring you a couple of cricket tier lists, so there'll be more of them coming up. But for now, guys, smash the like button, share with a friend, and we'll see you next time.